I'm looking at, for instance, when I'm in public settings, how I get nervous simply because in my mind, I believe people are constantly judging me.
What I hear you say is there is this fear, this uncomfortable fear, this frightening fear, which feels uncomfortable, and it makes you feel nervous. Hi everyone, I'm here again with Olivia and I'm very excited. Let's see what she comes with today. And I hope everyone who is watching this video can get a lot of insights out of it too. Olivia, thank you so much again for being here with me. How are you?
Oh, hi, Monica. I am well. I am better than well. Thank you so much again for having me. Our last session was like all about physical healing, the figuring out why I was experiencing so much pain. And I want to announce to you that I feel absolutely amazing. I have zero pain. And I've been doing really, really well. I've been extremely productive, and it's made life much more enjoyable.
Thank you so much for sharing this with me. I'm so happy that you don't have any pain. I'm so happy to hear that you're feeling super good and also that you are productive. So thank you so much for sharing this. I'm very, very happy to hear that.
Me too.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so for today, Olivia, what is it I can help you with? What do you want to work on today?
Well, as I'm following my passion, Monica, I guess I'm coming into these thoughts about, who am I to be, for instance, the so-called best RTT, practitioner or therapist. And off camera, you and I began this conversation about, I think I started with the quote from Marianne Williamson. And I don't know the full quote, but one part of her quote says, "Who are we not to be brilliant?" And I've always struggled with that my entire life. And there's a part of me that feels like I am brilliant and I would like to share that brilliance. But yet I feel if I do, it's something that's egotistical, or I'm afraid to really bring that brilliance forward, either out of fear of being, again, egotistical or full of myself. And I'm not sure why I feel that way. I'm certain I'm not alone in feeling that way. But I would like to show up in my full brilliance. And I'm hoping our coaching session today can maybe get to the bottom of what's holding me back. What is this firewall that I've put up that says you cannot shine as brightly as you would like to shine? And maybe go even deeper into possibly my fear of shining brightly.
Thank you for sharing this with me. And you're right. You are not alone with that. In fact, I have not met any person ever who was building something, creating something, and has not encountered sooner or later this feeling of kind of imposter syndrome. Is that right? Yeah, like you know you have something to share, but at the same time, you think, but who am I to say this? Who am I to coach people? Who am I to help others? Who am I to share my art, my this and my that? And what I hear you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there's so much brilliance within you and you want to shine in your full potential. But on the other side, you're asking yourself, who am I to do this? And you use the word egotistical. So this comes up a little bit. So there is a conflicting belief. On the one side, you want to go out, you want to really go after your passion, you want to help other people, you want to help kids, you want to go out with your art and all the work you want to do. But on the other side, there is this belief like, who am I to do this?
Yes.
And what happens, so our mind cannot hold conflicting beliefs. It's like you have two teams and they are pulling on a rope, and the one says, shine, show your talent, and the other says, no, you don't. Who are you to do? So, and when we are in this state, we are stuck because it's always like a ping pong game. Yes, I go. No, who am I? Yes, I want to shine. No, who am I to? I want to help these. Who am I to help them? Is that correct? Does this resonate?
That is absolutely spot on. That is exactly, I like your analogy of that tug of war of two teams going back and forth, because that is exactly how I feel. There's a part of me that says, yes, let's do this, we can do this. And knowing also that, there are people who will receive it, there are people who won't receive it, and I'm okay with that. Um, I know that I will not be for everyone, and not everyone is for me either. Not everybody that I come across will I be able to work with. So I do understand that. But there is this feeling within me that is very much afraid to fully shine and to fully, be in that light, or even in the spotlight, if you will, because there is a spotlight that shines on us when we do shine brightly. So that might be also not just the imposter syndrome going on with me, but also this the aspect of now you're super visible, you're out there, all eyes are on you. And so I think there's something there that we could probably like explore.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this. So there is on one side this imposter, what we mentioned before, but also a little bit of fear of visibility. Is that correct? So because the more you go out, the more you promote your business, the more you promote your art, the more you will be visible. Well, that's actually the goal. And this is also something everyone I have met, or maybe because they come to me because they have this, but I have not seen anyone building something, a business, whatever it is, going out there, then do not experience this in one or the other way. And going back to this analogy with these two teams pulling on a rope, if the one says yes, go, and the other one no, and the other one yes and no, and we are stuck, we can only solve this issue, if we stay with this metaphor, if we take people or like people from the one team to the other. And that's what I would like to do today, like taking some people, it just needs a little bit, maybe one only, and then the team who says yes, go, they will be stronger. And then at the end of the day, all of them will go there. So what we need to do again is we have a conflicting belief again, and to make the part of the conflicting belief which says, yes, I want to shine. Yes, I want to go out. Yes, I want to be visible. This we want to make stronger. And the other one, we want to at least make weaker or transform it so that they also go to the other team.
Yes, I completely agree.
Perfect. So for that, I would like to go a little bit back. What you said before, there is this fear of who are you? And then you said like a firewall that keeps you from shining. Who are you to show up? And I would like, with your permission, to go there a little bit deeper and see why it's here.
Let's do a deep dive. I'm ready.
Perfect, perfect. So let's see where it goes. I would like to start, if you don't mind, to describe me a little bit more this fear. What is it exactly? How does it look like?
Oh, that's a really good question. What does it look like? It's if I were to maybe put a face to it, it would be something that would be so frightening that you wouldn't dare go near it or approach it. It feels also, I would have to say, uncomfortable. I'm looking at, for instance, when I'm in public settings, how I get nervous simply because in my mind, I believe people are constantly judging me. And that judgment also sometimes pushes me to compare myself, for instance, to others. So I get in often into the habit of like comparing myself to someone else, like, oh, this person is better than I am. I'm not good enough, or that they are excellent at what they do. And while I know I'm a different individual, as an individual, I'm unique, and I'm not trying to copycat anyone, but in our cultures, our societies, it's really difficult to not compare yourself to someone and then not put yourself down after comparing yourself to someone who may be showing up in their brilliance. So the fear, yeah, at times it looks very scary and unapproachable, and at times it looks very familiar, if that makes sense. Right? It looks familiar because it's just, at times I feel a reflection of what's within me, but what is not able to actually come forward and be upfront. So it's almost like it's in the shadows, if you will. And that shadow is, you can see the shadow, and I never, to me, the shadow has always been an important part of who we are. It's not separate. And I think that with the shadow, the light and the shadow, there's this beautiful contrast that appears. And contrast, I am a photographer by nature as well. When you have that beautiful contrast, it makes the most exquisite photos. So I'm not sure why I'm pushing that contrast away, or I'm not wanting to experience it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing this. I'm stopping here for a moment because there were a couple of things I would like to look at a bit closer. And first, what you said, well, first I will reflect this back to you. What I hear you say is there is this fear, this uncomfortable fear, this frightening fear, which feels uncomfortable. And it makes you feel nervous when you are in public. And it's this fear of judgment. and you compare yourself, like we naturally do, we all do compare ourselves, but this also fuels this fear or insecurity, if I get this right, of, well, these people are there and I'm only there. This is what we normally do. And then also you mentioned a couple of things. I will just stop here for a moment because I just realized there are so many things. So let's break it down. For the comparison, you already said something really, really smart, which is like you compare yourself, but at the same time, I sense that okay, this is not what I should do, right? This
Correct.
is something which is draining my energy, which is just like taking my energy away. And first of all, there's nothing you do wrong because we all compare ourselves. And what you said, what I like so much is like in this time and society where we are in now with social media, it's like we compare ourselves. We just see so many people doing the same or similar things like we do. How can we not compare ourselves? But, and there's this but. So we compare ourselves, and if we know it, and if we recognize it, and if we are aware and conscious about it, then we don't fall into the trap of comparison. And I have the sense that you know it a little bit yet, otherwise how would you know? How could you tell me? So you're aware about this. And what I also we talked a little bit before, and what I said also about comparison, you don't mind me sharing for myself a little bit, when I compared myself so much to other people in so many different ways and scenarios. And what I tend to do is I took my worst case, picture, whatever, and took the best snapshot, picture, whatever, from the other person and compared it. Because how do we compare in social media? I think most people put their best version of themselves, or they try to, the best snapshot, the best picture, the best video with a lot of filters and I don't know what there. And this we take and look ourselves in the mirror when we haven't slept, when we have no makeup, when we are just like how we are and maybe sick or whatsoever. And then we look at that picture and our picture, and then we say, oh my God, I'm so ugly. Oh my God.
That is so true, Monica. You hit it right on the nail. That is so, so, so very true. Uh, oh my gosh, you've touched upon so many things right now, and there is this fear of mine because I do have content that I would like to put on YouTube and on Instagram, but I've been holding back for years. And the holding back is because I see everyone else's content and I feel like, okay, I can't measure up. So there comes the comparison. But yet, when I look at my content, I can see that it shines on its own. Yet, I won't put it out there for fear of, I guess now, if we're going even deeper, maybe it is the fear of rejection that's also in here. As I'm speaking to you in this moment, this is what's coming up. It's like maybe the fear of rejection. And again, the fear of like, oh, my content is very different than everyone else's. I don't use a lot of fluff, a lot of filters. I prefer to have the nuts and bolts of things. It's great sometimes to make things really pretty. And I love aesthetics. Again, as a photographer, a videographer, I love aesthetics. Right now, the way I see social media, it's over the top, but I see that there seems to be like a demand for that, which is great. So my thought though is, do I then begin to, you know, somewhat copy? and become something other than myself? Or do I like, okay, maybe I can take just a little bit of this and incorporate it into what I have and allow for that to just, take me wherever it will take me. So I have this, yeah, it's, there's a lot going on in
Mhm.
this process,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that this coaching session though will allow me at least, afterwards, to be able to have the courage enough to at least put some of the content that I already have up, uploaded onto
Let
YouTube.
I'm sure we can work on that. And let's see where it goes. And you know that in my coaching, sometimes we have great tools, and sometimes it's just a conversation. And sometimes we need to take tools like last time and go really deep. And sometimes it's just a conversation and looking at one thing from very different angles and perspectives so that we can maybe see it afterwards differently, or you. And what you said right now, there are many things. So, first of all, when you say, you said on the one hand, your content is very different because you're an artist, because you do it the way you like it. And on the other hand, you're afraid of um, of copying someone.
Mhm.
So, can you explain this a little bit more?
Yes. So copying is when you, and I'm sure you've come across this, you admire someone else's content and you're like, wow, I'd like to do that, or I could do that. And and it's very easy to fall into that, but it's their content. And so if I take that, and there's nothing wrong because everybody can like kind of like base things off of certain things. So you can look at someone's content and say, "Ooh, this is beautiful, and I'd like to create something similar." And to me, I love to create something similar yet not similar. So
Okay.
as beautiful, but not. Do you see what I'm saying? There's like
Yes, I
a
totally
subtlety.
understand it. And
Yeah.
this is what I thought I would understand, but it's I now I have the clarity about that. Thank you so much for explaining this. So what I hear you say is you sometimes see other people's content and you like it, you find it beautiful, and that's why you get inspired and using you want to use kind of ideas from them, but you're not
Correct.
copying. You
Correct.
do not take the post and like rebuild the same thing. You get
Correct.
inspired
Yes. That's
and
right.
you
Yeah.
use parts from that. So, my
Yes.
question is, imagine you would have a content, a lot of things, and someone would get so inspired by your work that they, out of this inspiration, create something beautiful because they saw your content. And then maybe they got so inspired by one part or an idea that they create something out of that. What would
That,
you think about that?
well, that for an artist is the biggest compliment. That is, yes, that is to to be honest about it, it's actually very flattering if someone else, yes, thinks that your content is um, that so beautiful. I would say is that
Mm.
beautiful.
So it would be flattering for you. It would be the biggest compliment for you. And it would be amazing. It would show you that people, this person, likes what you're doing. They find it super beautiful so that they got inspired and create something out of them.
Yes, 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 yes,
So it's something great what someone
yes.
would do to you. And now Imagine what would a person think when you go to their content and you get so inspired that you use parts of them, or like you get inspiration, you create something out of that. Why is it different for them? What would they feel?
Good point. Never thought about that. Good point. They would probably feel also very flattered, and probably even more flattered if I could take it to the next level. Because that's what I would hope, that if once I put my content out, that yes, if someone were to copy it, but to copy it in a way that they take it to the next level. So it's inspiring enough for them to take certain aspects of whatever I create and then take it to a whole new height.
Yeah.
I love that. I never thought about that. Thank you for putting that out there. I was always under the assumption that, you know, people would be upset if you copied, but what I meant by copying also is not copying fully exactly what they do. So you completely understood what I was saying. There are certain elements of what they do that are so inspirational, you can't help but to take those elements and create with them, and hopefully create a different version of what they've created. Yeah.
So you take their creation, their art, and bring it to the next level.
Yes.
You make their art bigger by
Yes.
bringing it to the next level. So you, at the end, what I hear you say are you are not taking something from them, but it sounds for me like you're adding.
Yes. Yes. Or maybe could it be both? Like I am taking a little bit, but I'm also adding at the same time. So
Yeah, exactly.
yes.
And you know now, you know anyway, how important the words are we tell ourselves. So
Absolutely.
next time, when you go and see an inspiring content and you would like to create something out, you take aspects of it because you got so inspired by this beautiful art. You want to bring it to the next level. What word could you use instead of I'm copying that?
I think I could use the word I am borrowing an idea, or I'm inspired by
How does
by
this
their work.
sound?
Inspiration is better than borrowing.
Inspiration,
Borrowing means I
yeah.
have to return it when we
Exactly.
borrow. So I just thought about that. Yeah.
Inspiration. So you got inspired. And
Yes.
what do you think would someone think or feel or say when you say, oh, listen, your content is so beautiful that I got so inspired to create something out of that? How would that make them feel? How would you feel if I would come to you and said, Olivia, your content is so beautiful. I got so inspired to create something out of that. So I took some aspects of it because they inspired me so much, and look what I did out of that. How would you feel?
That would deeply move me. I actually went, as you were asking the question, how would they feel? I was already putting myself in that place. And then you said, how would you feel if someone did that? And that would deeply, deeply move me. I would feel honored, to tell you the truth. I would feel very, very honored. Yes.
Beautiful feeling. So now, how can we bring this together? Now, you already said next time, instead of using copying, you will use the word you got inspired. You inspired. And then you already said to me, what I hear you say was that if someone would do this to you, you would feel amazing. It would be a gift.
Yes. Yes.
What about going out there and giving this gift to as many people you can?
In this moment, as we're having this conversation, I say yes. I should really just put it out there, put myself out there. If this would inspire someone else, which I'm hoping it would, but for the most part, if I put my content out there, is so that people can benefit from my experiences, my my talents, and all that I have to offer. So I would feel, or I should say, I am feeling in this moment that I should like put it out there and see how it lands,
Mm-hmm. And now going back again to this aspect of copying, when you now create a post, let's say, and you have the feeling or you remember, oh, I used to think that I copy because I got so inspired. How is the new, what has shifted there in this aspect?
What has shifted there is number one, it's this feeling also of, you mentioned earlier, imposter syndrome. So imposters to me are like, you're taking something or you're stealing something and you're pretending as if this is yours. And what I shifted now is, no, I am me. And what I'm bringing forward is a version of myself with whatever I'm bringing forward. So as an example, I'll just use like Reiki. As a Reiki master teacher, because even when I went through my training, after I got like all my certificates, I used to think that I was just an imposter. I used to think that this energy is like, this is woo-woo stuff. This is not, real. So I struggled a lot with it, and until I came into my own with it, which meant, yes, this is an energy everybody learns about. Many people learn about it, and they make it their own. Some people use crystals, some people use sound healing with Reiki, and until they find that little something within, I guess, and make it their own, then you're no longer in that imposter syndrome, space where
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling like, what am I doing? Because, if we break down, and I just want to break down the word imposter, because yeah, it means that you're fake. And and that word in of itself makes me also feel maybe like part of that firewall that I spoke to you about. That's what, I maybe have that firewall, is because of that feeling of being an imposter. So
Okay.
a fake and a phony, yes.
Okay. So the first part of the imposter and fear was the fear of copying something. And with this aspect, how do you feel only about this aspect with copying when you now see it as inspiration? And
Now
then
that I
let's
see it as in, now that I see that copying it as an inspiration, I no longer feel negatively towards it, if I can say that. It's
okay.
not, the word inspiration feels lighter and it feels brighter, and to me is authentic. And so using the word inspiration versus copying makes it feel more like this idea lifted me up versus I'm just copying because I guess if I fully copy something, it's because I'm trying to be something that I'm not, which I guess brings the imposter thing. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I'm so happy that this helped you already, that you changed this word. So
Yes.
next time when you go and get inspired, you think of, oh, I got inspired by them. And you can also think about the feeling, how you would feel if you would be in that situation that someone would be inspired by your art, your content, your whatever contribution in any way. And so this is something I'm happy that you could shift this already. And now let's go to the next step. The next part of this imposter syndrome, what I hear you say was like, for you, imposter means that you're pretending it's yours, but it's not, and being fake, like doing something and being fake. And you brought this example of you being a Reiki master teacher, and at the beginning it felt also like this is fake. This is like, what am I doing here? And now, how does it feel now?
Very natural.
How did you do that?
That's interesting. So again, had to put myself out there, created a business around it. And you know, as I'm actually thinking about this right now, Monica, what I believe shifted for me were the clients that showed up and their testimonials, what they would share about our sessions after we were finished. And over time, I then realized, okay, I'm not an imposter. And yeah, these are things that people that actually have assisted people in healing themselves. So I cannot dispute that. And the beauty about their testimonials, oftentimes were, you know, they would either call me or invite me to lunch and dinner, just to extend deeper level of gratitude for what they discovered and uncovered. So over time with the Reiki master teacher, because I also had difficulty teaching, but now the last time I taught a class, the students in my class were like, they were floored. They were just really in love, first of all, with the material, but they loved the way that I presented the material because I presented in me. I mean, as Olivia. So I have the foundation of the material, but I brought my own personality to and my own inner, I don't know what you would call it, this inner maybe spark to it that allowed for them to have a different experience. So, you know, as I'm speaking to you right now, and you're talking to me, and I'm noting down, I'm jotting down in my head the thoughts that are actually occurring, because the thoughts are, you're right, how we speak and what we say in our heads will actually also determine, you know, how we actually move forward with anything. And you're telling me how to look at copying versus inspiration. They're, first of all, different words. However, they're somewhat, there's a similarity to them, but the one word is much more uplifting, and the other one is constricting and very negative, if you will. Not to say that copying is a bad thing, but I think you understand where I'm going with this. I mean,
Yes, there's a
copying is,
negative energy in that
it's,
sense.
yes, in that sense, it has like this negative connotation to it. And so now I'm realizing in this moment, yeah, it's a shift in, first of all, how you see things. And you mentioned perspective. And my perspective now has shifted. I feel the difference where copying has its own thing, but inspiration, which I know also in the word inspiration is the word spirit. So you have that uplifting movement. And thank you for that. Um, yes, I'm having those electrifying moments. My brain is just like lighting up again. So if I sound hesitant in my speech, it's because my brain is also like just running and
It's
saying, "Oh
perfect.
wow,
Take your time. There's no rush. And these are so important moments. Like, stay there with these
yes,
insights.
yes, this is deep. Um, this is very deep because I wasn't sure that just via conversation I would get insight into this, but I'm having deeper levels of insight now. And also seeing that this firewall, for instance, that I've created is simply based on, again, once again, something that I've told myself and this story that I created um, around copying someone else's work. Um, yes, thank you. I'm sitting with this. Yes.
I'm so happy it resonated. And you can thank yourself because you're doing the work there and being
Mm.
open and willing to look at different angles and to answer my questions, even if they sometimes seem repetitive. But it's
Yes, I love it. And in this moment also, I want to take this opportunity. You just said I should thank myself. I think in one of our earlier coaching sessions, you were like, you should celebrate yourself. And I want to take this time to, yes, Olivia, thank you. Thank you for being able to see a different perspective. And so I'm thanking myself in this moment as well.
beautiful. Yes. How does this make you feel?
This is a little awkward, I'm not going to lie, but it feels good. I don't think we're ever in the habit of thanking ourselves. Sometimes we can pat ourselves on the back and say, oh, good job, good job. Um, but thanking myself out loud, it's awkward, but it feels right. It feels good.
Mm.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels different. I'll put it that way. Maybe awkward is no, awkward is accurate. Awkward, different, but I'd like to get more in the habit of doing that. It's like, thank you, Olivia, for shifting your
How
perspective.
can you do that? How can you get more in the habit of doing that?
Like what I just did is really actually doing it consistently and always,
Yeah.
every
And
day, every moment I can.
yeah, and you said something, well, you said it feels also a bit awkward. It feels good, but it feels also a bit awkward. And there we are again, it's this rule of the mind that our mind always goes away from what's unfamiliar and always back to the familiar. But you can make this familiar by practicing it. Our mind learns by repetition. Repeat it as often as you can. So you already have so much wisdom and knowledge within yourself. And now just bringing it up, what you are doing right now.
Yes,
It's
yes,
amazing.
yes. I thank you for allowing me to bring it up also. And thanking also myself for allowing myself to go there. As sometimes, you had stated before that the mind also prefers things that are familiar versus unfamiliar. And that unfamiliarity is where the awkwardness and discomfort comes from.
Yes.
And so to make it more, I guess, normal, if you will, repetition. I need to
Yeah.
do this. Yes.
Perfect. Something so important. Our mind learns by repetition everything.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. What we do for the first time or what we do for the second time feels awkward. But how can we make it feel good? By repeating it, by making it familiar. And you now say it. You will do this with thanking yourself more often. And how can you apply this to this feeling by going out, posting, and being visible? Like making it familiar.
It's a good question. In this moment, what's coming to me is one is consistency with anything that I do. So being consistent and
So being
I'm
consistent requires that you are doing something and you're not stopping. What
correct.
comes before being consistent?
Action.
Exactly. You
Action
have to
comes
start to
before.
take action. And
Yep.
this action, there is the point where it feels uncomfortable. And there we can have as many tools as we want. It will still feel for a certain point uncomfortable. We cannot make this away. We have to face. If we do something new, our mind doesn't like change because it thinks change is something dangerous. It wants to keep us in the familiar. Meaning, when we do something unfamiliar, we expand our comfort zone and it feels uncomfortable. So you said it right. Taking action, doing this step despite of this uncomfortable feeling.
Come on. Wow. I'm mind blown right now, Monica. Yeah, I did not make that connection. Like the action, I needed to take the action in order to like get or bring the level of consistency that I want. So in this moment, this is simmering in my brain right now. And it's like, yes, an action means taking whatever first step is necessary. And as you stated, even if it's uncomfortable, take the step. Just take it and then continue to take steps. I'm not trying to build like an empire overnight, but again, empires aren't built overnight. So everyone
How
has
are they
had to do.
built?
Oh, they'll be built day by day. It's like
And how did they start?
they start with actions. They start
With one action,
with one action.
one step at a time. And
Yes.
you take, imagine you take one action, this first, and it feels uncomfortable. And you continue to take the next step and the next. And there comes in the consistency. And you repeat taking this action. You repeat going out there. You repeat doing these steps. And our mind learns by repetition.
Yes. Yes.
And then you make it familiar.
Yes.
And because it's familiar, your mind won't make it feel awkward anymore.
That is so very true. Wow. Wow. Okay. I am absorbing everything that you just said because once our coaching session is done, I need to take this into my day. And there is something I've been wanting to post on YouTube. So today is the day. Today is the day to do it, at least to make that first step.
So you already feel this urge, this inspiration to go out and post on YouTube. You already have something. And what will you do if it feels uncomfortable?
To push through it. Like anything else, you know, you mentioned we learn by repetition, and repetition only makes things familiar. Therefore, this being unfamiliar, I need to keep pushing until it becomes my familiar, until it becomes where, like everything else, okay, I can do this. It is not a big deal. I don't have to, you know, create stories around it or become critical, because sometimes I have that critical voice that steps in.
But then when it comes in, the critical voice, what can you do?
I can tell the critical, well, actually, in the past, what I've said to the critical voice is just, can you just step aside? Let me do this. And I push forward that way. But I'm curious, what would you suggest?
Well, when we think about what you changed today with the word copying into inspiring or getting inspired, and when there comes a critical voice, what would it tell you? For example, like let's take one thought of the critical voice telling you something not nice.
Okay, sometimes my critical voice would say, oh, that content is like, it's no good. I mean, why
Okay.
are you really doing that?
Okay, this content is not good. Why are you doing that? What can you do when this thought comes in?
You know, I just had a moment there. Uh, it's interesting because our last coaching session was about this physical pain and how we installed the cheerleader. And in this moment, I thought, you know what? The critical voice needs to become my cheerleader. Instead, I can tell it, well, I understand your, apprehensions, and I understand your, whatever you're bringing forward. However, that's not very helpful in this moment. What can you offer in the opposition of what you're saying? So you're saying that this is not good, or you shouldn't do this at this time. Now tell me what would be good, or how can we make it good, and then post it. And as I'm speaking to you, I'm realizing that it's not about that it's not good. It's just that it's this fear of putting it out there, because the content is, it's just content. It's neither good or bad. It's just content. And we can all decide, people's personal preferences are, they can, think of it as good or bad, but it's content is just content. And the judgment on it comes, wow, it comes from me. It's that inner critical voice that's constantly very judgmental, almost sometimes perfectionist, if I dare say so. And it has a tendency of like saying, okay, well, no, we can refine things. But in this moment, I can just say to that voice, be my cheerleader. And yeah, I don't have to fight with it. It's already there. It's
And
inside
what
of
would
me.
you like that this cheerleader then says to you instead?
I would like for the cheerleader to say, go for it. You know what? No
What
matter
else?
what, let's not label anything. Let's not be critical. Let us just see where things, land. You never know. So put it out there. And what's the worst? What is the worst? Okay, so you have people who don't like it. Um, and if that's the worst, then that's okay. Because in the beginning, I think I said, I will be for some people, like some people will enjoy my content, some people won't. And so that's part of life. Uh, there are things that we like and things that we dislike, but just because we dislike something, it doesn't make us lesser than, or it doesn't make that thing lesser than.
Exactly. So you can
Oh,
just
wow.
change
Yes.
this internal dialogue from, okay, what are you doing there? All these negative things into go for it.
Yes.
Let's see where it goes. And when you think about that, go for it, let's see where it goes, how would that make you feel?
That's more exciting. That's exciting to me.
And now
That's
let's
motivational.
and so, yeah, amazing. And because when we go back there, I didn't do now the proper thing, from Marissa Peer also, the ladder of looping thoughts. Like every thought we think causes a feeling and then it causes an action. So I didn't put it out, break it down so much now with you, because I see that it is already working. But let's just, for people who watch, play it out a little bit without writing it down. When you have the first thought for it that was negative, so what are you doing there? That's not good at all. How would you feel then?
I would feel terrible.
And what action would you then take when feeling
I would
terrible?
take no action.
Exactly. And now let's go back to the thought. That's not good at all. What are you doing there? When you flip it to the one, go for it, to the cheerleader. Let's see what it brings. How would you feel then?
I would take action. I would I would feel absolutely upbeat, uplifted. And that upliftment, it's like I would feel this joy. Then I would take action. You're right. The feeling would motivate me to take action.
Exactly. Just by changing your thought.
Yes.
So whenever you feel next time not motivated, you can just put on your detective hat, like Marissa says it also, and investigate what was the thought before it. Because the thought is the thing we can change so easily.
Oh my gosh, yes. And you know what? I mean, I've been studying her material and I didn't even think about that. You're absolutely correct, Monica. It is the thought. And with every thought, you're correct. Either thoughts will keep us from doing things or will move us forward to do things. Yes. And the feeling actually, the thought creates the feeling. The feeling then moves us to action. Yes, thank you. Wow, yes.
Well, thank you. So now to bring this all little bit together, to reflect on all that what we have spoken. So you came with the feeling of imposter and the fear of being seen and feeling a bit fake in what you're doing. And there was a part of it was like you felt like you would copy something, and then you changed this word copying into I got inspired by this person. And we already talked about that. When you then next time go and get inspired by something, you can just feel about how you would feel when someone would get inspired by you. And then you would do something good for them. You would not do something bad for them. So that was the one part. And the other part is like you saw now already, you realize that just again, the words we tell ourselves, the thoughts we say to ourselves, the critical voice, it's not something that happens to us. It's just like we are the creators. We are the ones who choose to buy into that thought, to go with that thought or not. No one tells us, but us. You can just choose to change the thought, and then therefore create another feeling, and therefore create another action, and therefore create another reality.
You said something really key. You said something really key that I'm sitting with and allowing it to simmer. It's the power that we have to choose our thoughts. There are times I've felt like the thoughts are on autopilot. And you know how you get those the thoughts? It's just because, again, through repetition, that if the critical voice tells you constantly, no, this is not good, that's been over time, right? And it's repetitive, choosing a different thought in that moment. Because when you said that, something went off in my brain and I felt like, whoa, that's correct. we get to choose our thoughts. And how many times have I just, thought things and not really have the awareness to say, I can choose. I can choose a different thought. Why am I still, repeating the same thought? Disrupting that thought, like choosing a different thought to disrupt the past thought is
Beautiful.
what is like really like tingling and simmering. My brain is just going, ooh, that is correct.
Amazing. I'm so happy that this resonated. And by the way, this is just what I reflected, what you worked out with me there today. There's nothing I brought up. It's just like what you discovered. So again, it's just I'm holding the mirror in front of you. I'm reflecting back what you're giving me so that you can see it in a different perspective and angle, or you can see just what you said to me. Because sometimes we don't realize how brilliant we are, right?
Yes, very true. Very true. Wow, in this moment, I'm, I have to say, my brain is, I think I'm just integrating everything that's being said. My brain is active and percolating, and yeah, yeah. There's a lot I'm absorbing in this moment.
And it's perfect. And what, if you don't mind, what I would suggest really is after our coaching session, whenever you find the time, like best would be right after, just take a journal and write down everything what resonated with you and what comes up, because we looked at so many things so closely from different perspectives and angles, and a lot of things which came up, a lot of insights.
Mm-hmm.
And stay in this beautiful feeling of this, like you say it, like ding ding ding, when it goes up, all these insights coming in them,
Yes.
and that's beautiful, and that's something we really should enjoy. It. One insight can change our lives.
And one thought, yes, you're absolutely correct. One thought and choosing our thoughts. That is so deep. That is so, so deep, Monica, because we do have the power to choose our thoughts.
Exactly. That's it. I mean, and that's what I often say also in my other videos. It's like sometimes mistakenly we think we can choose the thoughts, whatever pops in, and then we get afraid when something negative comes in. Well, that's not the case. Meaning, what it means, choosing your thought means the reaction you have to it. We all have negative thoughts, but our choice is, do I like this or do I replace it? Like you said it so beautifully before, I can replace it with whatever I want. And Marissa also says in one of the rules of the mind, like one belief stays there, negative belief stays there until it gets replaced by another one. And the same is for thoughts, because a belief is just a repeated thought over and over again so that it becomes a belief. So the same is when we have a negative thought, what we can do is it doesn't work when we push it away. But what works, what you said, what you discovered is just replacing it with something positive you want to then focus on and buy into. So there's the choice point.
I love that. I love that. And as you were speaking, something else came up, which was when we look at, for instance, our thoughts and we choose different thoughts, taking into consideration, is this thought serving me? And if it's not serving me, then time to get rid of it, time to change it to a thought that is of service to me.
I love it. So what will you
Yes.
do next time when you go out there and want to post something and there comes in a thought of, oh, that's not good at all? What will you do?
Number one, that thought does not serve me in a
So you will
time,
ask yourself,
and
does this serve me? And then
does
you,
this serve me? And then I will choose a different thought. So
amazing.
you're right. I will ask first, is this serving me? And then I choose a different thought.
I know you did it already in your brain. I'm just breaking it down for everyone who is watching
I love
so that
it.
they can get it also, this wisdom out from you. So that's
I'm glad.
amazing.
No, I'm glad you broke it down because it also afforded me um, the ability to also see it breaking down because I'm doing it more since I've been studying RTT. So it's coming a little bit more naturally. I want to say that where, but the breakdown of it, you're correct. The breakdown of it, when you're actually really, really breaking it down, you can see all the components very clearly. There are no nuances. Yes, it's beautiful. So yes, thank you for breaking it down also for me, as well as your viewers. Thank you.
Yeah, well, now, Olivia, what is the biggest takeaway from today?
Ooh, that's a big one because there are a lot of big takeaways. The one that jumps out at me right now is how we can choose our thoughts. But
Beautiful.
the biggest takeaway also is remembering that our thoughts create feelings, our feelings then create the action, and then there's that loop where the actions then can go back to creating other thoughts. So there's so many gems in this video, Monica. This session, I feel like my biggest takeaway is the entire session. If I can say, I am going to be watching this because I'm like, whoa, I'm having huge moments again. Yes, I need to, like you said, I need to, once we're done with the session, is journal. But moving forward, it's just this allowing for all of this to really settle into my being.
Beautiful.
And yes, move
And once you
forward.
have done that, once you have taken this time to let it sink in, to process everything, what is the next step you will take today?
Today, well, after the journaling is to post what I have because I have a lot of content. I've had a lot of content for a lot of time. So I'm just going to post a little something. Yeah.
Okay. And when there sneaks in the thought that you're copying something from someone, what will you do then?
I will choose a different thought. I will first ask, is this thought serving me to answer that direct question? I will choose a different thought and take action on the new thought.
And when we go especially to the one problem of copying or the one issue you had from the copying, what would be the different thought?
The different thought is this has inspired me, and I am actually honoring that person whose work I admire. So
Exactly.
knowing that I'm
Exactly.
honoring them, yes.
So you, no matter what negative thought comes up or whatever thought comes up, because sometimes we think it's not that negative, but when you ask with everything that comes up and you have the feeling it's holding you back, is this serving me? And if not, then you change it. And if it is, great.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, when you brought up, is this serving me? I started to think also sometimes there are thoughts that I've had that I don't know are not serving me. But in our conversation, now I'm realizing, no, I can recognize when a thought is not serving me. When, for instance, you're not feeling joy or motivation, and you brought up the feeling, which is so important. It's how do I know a thought is serving me or not? Well, if the thought is making me feel, bad, if it's making me feel unproductive, then it's not serving me. So I'm going even a step further to say, okay, well, how do I identify what thought is serving me, what thought is not serving me? Yes, I'm having some incredible moments right now.
And
Just
just now, what you shared with me, I think a lot of people would love to hear and see more from you, more wisdom, more knowledge, more Olivia.
thank you. I write, so I journal. I don't know if I've shared this with you. I write and I journal, and I wrote something recently on triggers. So that's what I'm going to post today on my website,
I
on my
can't wait
YouTube
to see
channel.
I can't wait to see it. And I think so many other people who are watching this video, they will now go and look for it. And I will make sure that it will be linked to this video so that everyone can find it super easily. And I'm so happy that this resonated with you and that you came up with so many insights and wisdom and knowledge. And now even not only that you broke down how you can change your thoughts by asking how does it serve me, but now you also even went back a little bit more or broke it down even more. How do I know if it's serving me or not? Well, my feeling tells me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I'm so
It's,
happy.
you're amazing. I'm amazing. This is amazing.
Exactly. Well, I just reflected back what you told me. That's the beauty of my job. I'm just asking questions and repeating what people are telling me, and then they are happy, hopefully.
Oh my goodness, this is brilliant, Monica. It's just brilliant. Your listening skills are, yeah, absolutely spectacular because the questions that you ask do push me. And that push is really good because it's like, okay, just dig deep. You have the answers within you because you have to give deeper thought to it. And so I'm so appreciative in this moment that you have this uncanny ability to do that. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But I couldn't do anything without having something within you. And yes, sometimes I'm pushing, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just pulling out what is in you.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So thank you so much, Olivia. And I can't wait what you tell me next week. It's been another incredible conversation with you. And thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you for having me once again. And thank you for all your listeners and viewers for tuning in.
Thank you. Yes, for everyone who is watching, I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.